Well, daggone, man, it was pretty busy Monday night in a lot of ways. We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah,
Starting with the committee of the whole that you chaired. I mean, let's go through that. I mean, yeah, we covered crime stats.
yeah,
That was the thing that's kind of notable to me. The other thing I think, and you brought this up in a meeting you and I were in earlier this week, is the recognition of how many capital improvement issues we really have a need to address in the city.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a great conversation for our retreat, which will be coming up in April.
Right.
Tentative date so far, but the new manager will be in place by that time, Mr. Rogers. But I think we've got to be able to sort of prioritize these projects. They're not small projects, and
No, no, they're not. They're
but,
not.
but much needed projects. I think just historically, man, there's projects that we've just continued to keep pushing off, and they make the CIP, but then once it's time for those 5 year, 4 year span to come around, it's like they continue to get pushed. So looking forward to kind of carry through with some of the projects this year, hopefully.
Well, you're right, and you've been pushing a comprehensive plan. I think that's absolutely where we have to go because otherwise
Yeah,
you can't really prioritize the spend of money. But it's a lot like a roof, right? It's
yeah,
just not a sexy way to spend money. But if you don't do it, you can end up in a world of hurt.
that's it.
So at some point you just got to bite the bullet and just deal with
That's
it.
it, man. No one wants a house with a leaky roof,
No,
man. So
no, 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 no. So we covered that, and and then the other thing I thought was really interesting is the chief of police going to the crime stats. Obviously, it was not a great January for us, but he gave a chance to talk about a meeting that we had had earlier, where he had had with I call them the alphabets: ALE, FBI, SBI,
yeah,
the U.S. Attorney Mike Easley for the Eastern District, and our own DA, and others. But what came out of that meeting is that the chief's plan is solid. The U.S. attorney said, "Look, I, there's nobody's got a better plan out there. I've got no more secret sauce than what we've got. Your chief
mhm,
has got it going on." I said, what it comes down to is we've just got to figure out, not just in Rocky Mount, but Kinston, Greenville, Wilson. He went through the list of everybody, every city in his district. He
mhm,
said, you just got to get to the place that you've got a full complement of officers.
yeah,
He said, and that's just hard, with recent movements, you know, police brutality. It's just not the environment where everybody's playing cops and robbers and everybody wants to be the cop anymore.
that's it.
And there's a lot of liability associated with it, and a lot of risk. I mean, we're asking a lot from these folks.
Yeah, yeah, man. And first, let me say thank you for pulling together that meeting.
Well,
Um,
thank you for your support on that. That was very helpful too.
No problem at all. And I think it was much needed. I think it was a great conversation, not only just to have, but to see, our staff in a great light. I'm hearing that Chief had a great
He
presentation.
did.
Mr. Varney, went over some highlights in our committee of the whole to talk about just how robust of a presentation it was, to be able to show just how substantial we are as a department. But like you said, to your point, we're low in officers, our turnover is low. Then also looking at the rate in which officers are retiring now and nearing their retirement age and having to bridge that turnover gap. So Chief has his work cut out. We've got to support him
That's right.
in whatever way we can. We heard from him yesterday, what he was saying, hey, basically we need more money.
Well,
If
that's
you
it.
ask how you can support us, we need more money. And the pay plan, I think, is going to be coming out pretty soon on our next agenda or committee of the whole,
Right.
Mr. Varney was saying. And so I'm excited to know that if that's the only issue or the
Right.
largest issue, of how we can help, that we have full responsibility and know we have full responsibility to make it happen. And I feel confident in our council that, we'll do what needs to be
I
done.
believe that everybody sitting around that table has nothing but the highest and best interest for the city of Rocky Mount, particularly as it relates to public safety. And
Yep.
there's just no question about that in my mind at all, at all.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, it's great. And I did talk with Peter today in our morning meeting or our Wednesday meeting, and he was suggesting the play had just come out. He'd had a chance to look at it. I tried to get him to give me a peek at it, but he didn't. He said no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, but that's a good step along the way. He
Mhm.
also said that same presentation that Chief did, he's going to repeat on the 27th of this month. And so
Good.
hopefully we'll get a chance for the public to go listen, see, participate, hear about it. And I think that would be a really, really advantageous for all of us.
Yeah, that'll be great. One thing I want to look at moving forward, I think Councilman Knight brought it up about just how other cities don't really report their stats,
Right.
and so I don't know if we should look at moving it to quarterly or maybe by monthly, but it's been good to know and to see the trends. Um, and I think I don't know, and I'm pretty sure I know you do the study
Yeah.
and the research
Yeah.
behind it, but I would really want to look at how impactful the presentations have
Yeah.
been for us with crime, not just as far as our crime statistics, but as far as the public and how the public has been responding to the
Well,
presentations.
so I'll say I heard Councilman Knight, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, if you look at our 3-year trend, our crime is coming down, violent crime,
Mm,
as well as property crimes, and you wouldn't see that if you weren't reporting those statistics.
yeah.
And I think it gives chief an opportunity to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're trying to do, these are what our needs are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just read the paper.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
read I mean, every other headline looks like somebody got shot here. Or we had a 6-year-old take a gun to school at Fairview.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is not anything you can prevent. The police can't prevent that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're a response. They're not. You
Yeah.
know,
The preventative measure.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it in those terms too. So
Mm,
where do we need to be? And but anyway, I'm proud of the chief. I'm proud of what they're doing. I'm proud of where the numbers are trending. Look, zero until it's zero, the
yeah.
job's not done.
That's it. That's it. And the job will never be done.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Or there won't be a job. And
That's
so-
exactly right. And you know what? Unless it's heaven, I suppose.
Yeah. And then there's that.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Oh,
So,
man.
but anyway, so I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was great to hear about the Sunset Master Plan. The boat ramp is it's open right now to get out to the boat ramp, but that's only for the fishing season.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's when shad season's over, which I'm thinking I haven't been shad fishing in a long time, but what, April, May, something like that.
I think a shad season is pollen. If pollen's
There you
down,
go.
it's shad season.
There you go.
Once pollen's up, the season's out. So
Okay, well,
that's
fair
how I can
enough.
remember it.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, that's about now.
Yeah, yeah.
Until about June.
Gotcha.
So there you
Gotcha.
go. Then they'll close it back. But I haven't been out there. Have you?
I haven't fished sunset in probably 2 or 3 years.
Me either.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
used to love to go out there. I mean, you can find a nice little spot on the bank and get
Yeah.
on the rocks. It just is a tranquil place. Somehow or another, I've gotten away from that. I don't know why.
Well, I'll make sure we make it our business to get out during the season.
Just a little aside. First time I ever caught an eel was out at Battle Park, and it was out on the rocks, and that thing scared the bejesus out of me.
Wow. Thought you had a snake.
I absolutely thought I had a snake. Then you got to take it off, and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
squealing like a little girl.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man.
But anyway, and it was good to see our financial review. I thought that we were doing good. I think some of our funds are a little low right now, but I think they'll probably restore as time goes on. So there's nothing there that was particularly, concerning. So I think the last thing really was the legislative agenda that we never really got to.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've had a chance to really review it. I read it. I don't know if you've had a chance or want to comment on it, but
Yeah, there were a few priorities from the League of Municipalities.
okay.
And pretty much, I mean, clearly, statewide, they were pretty much the same. Affordable housing,
Right.
funding for municipalities, extra resources for municipalities from our legislators, looking at our actual public safety and how we fund infrastructure was one of the priorities.
Right.
And there was a list of probably of 5 to about 7 different
And
priorities.
of course, our courthouse, we're trying to find money
Yeah.
from the state. And so, I hear folks coming up saying you shouldn't be spending city money on it. Well, first of all, we don't have that money. to
Yeah,
spend.
yeah.
And so we are looking for partners from the state, from the federal government to help us on that, some other projects that would be just designated for those items. So
Definitely.
I want everybody to hear that and underscore that.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's been a busy week for you too. Congratulations on completing your program, UNC
Oh,
School of
yeah.
Government. What are you, an ambassador? What's
I'm
the
an
official-
ambassador now for the only time I'll be an ambassador for anything UNC Chapel Hill. So I'm a Duke fan, so man, I'm telling you, I was just itching all week sitting on the campus of Carolina. But it was a course, a Monday to Friday,
Right.
week-long course, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Very intense. You're surrounded by other local elected officials. This was
Right.
the first cohort where school board members were invited and able to apply for the program, and so. It's great, man, to help you just sharpen your skills on leadership,
Right.
working with people, leading people, understanding your style of leadership, understanding how to lead others and how others respond. So, man, it was just a week full. It was good to be able to hear people around the state talk about how great of a financial place we're in with
Right.
the city and just how fiduciary responsible we were as a city and just talk good things about Rocky Mount. A lot of
Right.
time you hear a lot of negative and to hear great things
Especially if
coming
you're
from.
elected councilor or the mayor, right? I
Oh yeah.
mean,
It's
everybody takes an opportunity to share something with you.
That's it. So hearing these other elected officials, the school of government, just talk about how great of a
Right.
city we are in, and the potential we have was
And look,
it was great for
and look,
me.
we are in a good spot as a community and as a
Yeah,
city. We've just got to capitalize on it. I mean, look, everybody's got challenges with crime and other things, but we really have a great opportunity in front of us. And if we can catch the wave and ride it right, I think we have just on the precipice of just great, great, great things. I really
that's it.
do.
That's it. Looking forward to it.
Well, and speaking of, rivalries, right? Duke,
Yeah,
Carolina, having to spend a week there, and I know she's wearing a nice Carolina blue shirt. So I don't know
yeah,
if that
man.
was by design or not, but I love it.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, if I can stay far away from Carolina, I will.
But speaking of which, I mean, so we celebrated the Northern Nash football team at
Oh
the beginning of
man,
the opening of the meeting, and I got to tell you, I got a little bit of pushback. I mean, even threw on a Northern Nash football hat. I not mine, one that was given to me as part of
yeah,
the proclamation. But those guys did a remarkable job. Had a great season. I hate they came up short.
yeah,
They are the big rival for Rocky Mount Senior High, which I'm a graduate. You're a
yeah.
graduate,
That's
so
it.
it was found myself in a different place, but really, what a great group of guys, and congratulations to them on their season.
Yeah, man, outstanding effort. I spent 3 years at Northern before transferring to Rocky Mountain, and so
Well, not
uh,
everybody gets saved, sees
that's
the
it.
light.
But to see them there and to know how long it's been since they reached that pinnacle of
Right?
success in the football program that used to be great,
Yeah.
late 90s, early 2000s. So I think times are turning and, it's our rival, but Northern's going to be pretty good in football and basketball for the
Yeah.
next few
They
years.
are. And look, senior high's looking good too in both of
Yeah,
those. But
yeah.
Northern's men's basketball team, they were looking really sharp this year. They
Oh, yeah.
lost their last game, of course, to the Griffons.
That's it.
But and I was there for part of it. And that was a great, great, great show. But I mean,
Yeah.
dang on, they didn't give up. They were down
That's
like 30, 40 points and came
yeah.
right on back to make it a
That's it.
buzzer beater.
That's it. That's it.
So anyway, so that was probably the fun part of the meeting. Also, I'll call it that.
Yeah.
But we did have we went over the various other things. Everything was really on the consent agenda. We had a public hearing that nobody really came to speak at, which was good, I guess. I mean, there's no controversy there. So
Yeah.
the meeting really kind of rolled on pretty quickly, with the one caveat that we had some discussion that Councilman Daltrich pulled off the consent agenda, and that really was relating to, I believe, our insurance renewal and a change of our auditing firms. And
Mhm.
so we had a little bit of discussion there, but uh, in the final analysis, it passed unanimously. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know that's really kind of how that played out. The other thing, I think maybe in public comments, there were a couple of things that were of interest. One was, this discussion about, you know, what do you call it? Why am I drawing a blank
The
here?
foreclosure
Thank
policies.
you very
Yeah.
much. I mean, why is that so hard for me to remember, right? But the thing I think a lot of folks don't understand is the county's going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the city has the authority to do it as well for delinquent taxes. And we're not talking about properties that you missed one tax payment in January and then we're at the courthouse steps in February. A lot of these properties, we're talking about years of non-payment, both city and county and who knows what all else.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a different thing. And I don't understand. Maybe you do. I don't understand why it's controversial.
I think the biggest thing was just the lack of communication. I
Okay.
think that's really the that's what I grasped from hearing
Okay.
from everyone. Hey, it came up on the agenda. It was time to vote, but there was no prior conversation. And I think a lot of people are looking at how we communicated with like ARPA funding. I think public safety. We've had like some type of
Right.
ward based meetings, but they've taken those large items and seeing of how significant they could be. I think foreclosures in general is such a significant topic that
Right.
this particular foreclosure, this was not citywide, this
Right.
is just Edgecombe County. And it also was, like you said, it's actually administered by the county. And so I think there were just some missing pieces that weren't communicated to the public. I think once it's communicated, I don't
Right.
think we'll hear
Well,
as
yeah,
much
that's a great
pushback.
point. And I
Yeah.
have to know a little bit of the rest of that story. And in talking with the city manager, you know, we foreclose on properties. Edgecombe County forecloses on properties. The same is true for Nash County and the city of Rocky Mountain. So
Mhm.
Peter was just simply saying, well, look, it doesn't really make sense that we just don't do this together.
Yeah.
I mean, just one legal fee, one filing, one whatever. Let the county take the lead. The city will take second on that, and it just gets washed out. And I believe that he couldn't get Nash County to get to the terms, if I remember that correctly, which is why it
Yeah.
didn't come up. So Edgecombe County was willing to work with us, but I could see how you've rubbed all of the wrong topics
Yeah.
without a complete total understanding. I get it.
That's it.
Thank you for that. Because I got to tell you, I've been sitting there scratching my head the whole time, going, well,
Yeah.
because when I was campaigning, in Edgecombe County and in Nash County, I kept hearing from folks, I don't want that house next to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Folks are using it for all kinds of bad things, and I just don't want it here. I want it closed. I want it torn down or fixed or something.
Mhm.
So that's where I guess my confusion came from.
Yeah, yeah, it's communication, and then if constituents, they can communicate that and be able to share with staff that, hey, listen, these are the properties we would like the county to address first.
Right.
We want to look at those that are dilapidated,
Right.
and those that are already delinquent, but they're blight.
Right.
And so I think giving the actual public an opportunity to voice that will allow the
Yeah.
process to be a little bit smoother. No one's going to be 100% satisfied or
No.
happy, but I think it will go over smoother if public has an opportunity to hear from staff, and the communication is, a two-way communication.
Well, that's true, and I certainly understand. Nobody wants Mrs. Jones to have her house taken from her. I mean,
Yeah,
for but we're not talking about that more often than not. That I'm sure that's in the deck somewhere, but I mean that's
yeah,
probably 1% maybe, and certainly you can work something out in those and make exceptions in those arrangements, but.
definitely, definitely,
But the vast
definitely.
majority just need to be, in my opinion, just need to be raised or fixed or something,
Yeah.
and to the benefit of the community.
Once people see the finishing results,
Yeah.
everyone's going to be singing Kumbaya.
I think so. I do think so. And
Yeah.
and I think one of the other things I kept hearing is, so that you're just going to take it to the courthouse steps and it just gets sold to somebody highest bidder. That doesn't really happen all that often. More often
Yeah.
than not, the city and the county end up taking possession of it.
Yeah.
And I know that at least in some discussions internally with other council members, including yourself and others, it would make sense to kind of just maintain those properties until you could actually develop it all at once to create
Hmm.
a better product and something that fits more in line, maybe with what happened across town
That's it.
maybe 15, 20 years ago. And you
That's
look
it.
at the duplexes and the houses there on the empty lots, and they still look great.
Yeah.
They haven't
Yeah.
created any kind of gentrification. It's exactly what you would want.
Yep.
And so maybe it's just a matter of coordinating and communicating
That's
and
it.
getting it right.
That's what I
That's so
got
much
from
of
it.
everything, right? All
That's
right.
it. That's it.
So let's see what else came up on the
Well,
comment.
public comment, I had a couple people come up about speed cushions
Okay.
on Starling Way. And
Yeah.
so, I take that very, very personal when people come to, it's actually first time in my short tenure here.
Right.
So we're going into 4 years, and first time someone come to public comment and address the ward, individually. And so I take it very, very personal and
Sure.
very serious when people express a concern, especially when I haven't received a phone call. But once they come and bring it to the public, man, I've got to take immediate action.
That's right.
And so I did, because it came up, and so the petition's out. It's already 22 signees on the petition, and moving forward. Peter talked about the process of how it works to have speed cushions, and these will be, I think, the second speed cushions implemented in the city if all goes well.
Good.
So that was, I mean, it's good to have that type of feedback.
And
you
what
know?
is that process? Let's just outline that, because I mean that comes up a fair amount,
Yeah.
and so as my understanding goes, somebody has to raise a hand, concern,
Mhm.
get some sort of petition going, but they have to do a study.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep. You got to do a traffic study
Right.
in order to see. First of all, it has to be a road the city owns.
Well, that's true. It can't be a state road.
That's it. Then the process will be different. But as long as it's a city-owned road, then we'll have a process to where the city staff will go out. They'll do a study, traffic study, speed study. I think it also encounters, children in the area. Also the number of homes in the area.
Right.
There's a number of different factors
Sure, sure,
that
sure.
factor into that
Well, yeah, a
study.
playground would certainly score a higher risk zone than,
That's it.
you know, a store, I suppose. I don't know, but
And according to that study, it'll be approved or disapproved. The amount of speed cushions that you can have, within a foot or mile radius,
right,
is within that study. So that was the process in total, and it's just a matter of getting to that place of saying, "Hey, I made a public comment, but what's beyond this?"
right,
So
right.
it was said,
Well, and I've been getting those same comment, not about speed stuff, but running red lights. Good gosh, I
mm,
mean, I get at least two of those a week, at least
yeah.
two a week, and people are passionate about it. But here again, that's I mean, anyway. What else did you see here?
That was it. I
That was
think
kind of
that
what I
was,
recall
yeah,
too. I mean,
yeah, that was the
specifically,
bulk of the comments, and it was it was, and Troy came again.
yeah,
He was adamant about the Carter House project
yeah,
and wanting the city. I don't know what role he wants us to play, but basically saying that we haven't placed any attention into it, and so that was interesting to hear. Seeing that we've helped Troy, numerous of years. But he felt passionate about it,
sure,
adamant about the
sure,
city not really placing a priority on the Carter House project, which I think all of us would love to see, revitalized. And it was a place to be in the '90s and before prior to
absolutely,
the '90s.
absolutely. I mean, I
Um,
used to love to go there for Sunday lunch. It
yeah,
was fabulous. I mean,
yeah,
it really was. But yeah, I think everybody does want to see that redeveloped. I have no idea what his plans are, but I do know that our city manager has not just that project, but several others try to come up with a different package to try to incentivize maybe a more rapid redevelopment.
yeah.
And it's going to be a longer process, obviously more money, public hearings, and all that kind of stuff. But it'll be interesting to see what that final product looks like and what council has to say about it.
That's
So,
it. That's it.
but patience will win the day a lot of times.
That's it. That's
And
it.
then, of course, we talked about settling the Marty Clay issue. That was, I think, a challenge that I heard a couple of sighs in
That
the
was the
audience.
breath taker.
It was, well, that we did the best with the information we had at our disposal to figure out what was going on. And
That's it.
so that was it. A couple of new appointments. Went so fast and furious, I couldn't even write them all down. So I think that's ultimately a good place.
It's great.
And then we're in closed session. I mean, it was really pretty straightforward meeting in
It
a
was a
lot of
great
ways.
business meeting. Great business meeting, and the way I like to see council meetings is business because they are business meetings.
That's right.
And we conducted it as such, and you did a great job of chairing it as such. And
Well, thank you for that.
we handle business.
Well, my favorite is when somebody comes to me, and says, how long is it going to be tonight, Mayor? I said, I have no idea. I'm not in control of what people say or don't say.
That's it. That's it.
But if
That's
it's
it.
up to me, I'll get you out of here in 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was good. We were close to it, and it was a great meeting.
Sure.
Looking forward to the next.
Me too. And a couple things going on going forward. I think maybe we ought to announce here that we are moving the 27th of March. That meeting is going away because everybody's going to be gone. That did change. And then I think we're moving the April 10th meeting to the 3rd to kind of bridge the gap because, of the missing the meeting at the end of March.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, those are things that folks ought to be aware of.
That's it. And we talk about transparency a lot. I think it's good to also, we talked a little about the retreat. More than likely, the retreat's going to be away from Rocky Mount. We're probably going to go somewhere else. It won't be as cost efficient or as cost burdensome as the last one.
That's right.
Because we won't be taking as many people.
Right.
But we are trying to locate a place that has a priority in affordable housing.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. That's really the driver here is what you're trying to see in terms of, it's your retreat. So, what you're trying to demonstrate, it really is about redevelopment. And you did a lot of research on various communities. I mean, Jabarius Walker and I, when we were leaving the meeting, we're talking about that a little bit. He's like, man, it's funny. TJ did the same research I did. We came up with the same names, and that was just kind of interesting. So
man.
So tell me a little bit about that. I mean, because I think that's important for folks to understand part of that communication.
Yeah, that's it. So looking at a retreat, I think the idea, and speaking of Mr. Varney, the idea of retreating is to be able to, first of all, making sure that your council gets to a place that's far enough from the city to where you actually can retreat with one another and connect sort of away from city business and away from city limits. And so that's the idea of moving away, but then being able to actually visually see and work with a staff that's actually implemented some of the ideas that and initiatives that you want to see. That's really the goal of what we do.
Right.
Unfortunately, I think going to Asheville, we saw a lot of what we could have did, but we just came back and didn't implement any of it, and continue to talk about it.
Right.
And
Right.
so I think that's what you have to in order to really see the magic of going, you got to come back and implement what you see. And so
Right.
last week I just had an opportunity. There's a couple council members from Concord in the Charlotte area just talked about in their affordable housing approach, which is different from a bond.
Right.
They basically pull a penny away, and they're a much larger city, you
Yeah.
know. And
We'll
that's
talk about that, but
that's another thing too, you
yeah.
know, being able to see cities that may not be your size, but seeing some of the programs that they at least try innovative, maybe new. They take a penny from their utilities from every utility payer in the
Okay.
city, and they place it towards their affordable housing
Okay.
sort of allocation. And granted, like I said, you know, a penny there is take you far more than a penny here, but it
Well,
matches some other funding that they have.
but on a percentage basis, it should be the same,
It
right?
should, yeah, yeah. So, you know, just looking at some of those ideas and innovative approaches that I know we haven't talked about. We've been talking about housing bonds, which take longer, you know,
They do.
and it also requires, you know, all constituent
Well, it's a
input to vote.
referendum.
It's a referendum,
Yeah.
and we don't have a finance director yet. I'm sure we'll have one once we get a new manager and he comes in and learns that. But we're talking about something that is an immediate need.
Right.
But
Right.
we're looking at, you know, long term results and longer, you know, longer initiatives that'll take longer to actually implement. So
Right.
trying to find some quicker solutions to work with like the foreclosure policies
Right.
and, you know, what can we do in small pockets to address these needs immediate and quicker, but still be just as sustainable
Right.
as a housing bond.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, think outside the box, you know, embrace
Yeah,
the power of and. That's as the book says, and I think that's great. Well, look, man, I really appreciate you coming. I appreciate your leadership and what you do in the city. I'm glad that
sir.
we had a good, smooth meeting, and I'm excited about the future as we go forward.
Excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.